Alrighty, welcome to this next game. Playing the orange Protoss Training Days, playing the white Terran safT. PvT this time, and it's really cool, yeah. We had the PvZ last game, where Training Days managed to win with Zerglings. He just made, he went all in with a link push and managed to surprise safT, who was Protoss, and I think he was not really prepared for that, because so as I mentioned, Training Days is rather a low map player, and if you just do unusual things on a fastest map as a low map player, then you might actually win the game. So it's fun and nice. But this time Training Days actually makes a mid-build rush, which is a usual thing in fastest map, and it's really hard to protect against that. So being a Terran, it's very hard to hold a push like this. Cannons supported by Zealots can do a huge amount of damage, and you really need to be good as a Terran player to hold that. You need to have good macro creativity and so on, because you have to micro the Marines as hell, and you cannot really lose any Marines, because if you lose them, then of course that SCV dance was nice. So if you lose the Marines, then of course there won't be any units to shoot those cannons, and if the cannons are built up, then they are alone able to finish you, so you shouldn't let cannons finish. Sometimes sometimes Protoss players just make Zealots as part of the mid-build rush, but it's not as effective as with cannons. And I can see Orange is just sending one probe down here, and also sends 2 Zealots right now, so these Zealots will distract the Marines while the probe can start the cannon rush. It's a nice thing to do, because the Terran player is really busy to stay alive and not to die again, so not to die because of these Zealots. And then while this is happening, the probe has an easy time building up cannons. Excuse me. And then so the cannons are being built, and white won't really have the possibility to stop them, because if 2 or 3 cannons are up, then they can easily hold several many Marines, and then the remaining Zealots can come. Okay, now the cannon push is discovered, and this is a nice timing. So the cannons were not prepared. Let's see if safT manages to survive. The Marines are shooting the cannons, and one goes down, and the other one went down as well. But there was still one remaining. So as I mentioned, 2 or 3 cannons are enough. Even if they are not built up properly, still 1 cannon and some Zealots. Well, it can cause a huge trouble for the Terran player. But right now safT managed to win some time as the probe was killed. So newer probe is coming, but safT doesn't really have the chance to get close to the cannon, and a new probe has arrived. So he can continue on with this cannon rush. The quick factory is up and running now for safT. He really needs to buy time for the tank to come out and then shoot those cannons. So right now, all safT has to do is just to stay here with the Marines, and then do not let Training Days just get closer to his base, and do not let him build cannons up here, because then those barracks will be under fire and Marines won't really be able to pop out, because once Marine is popped out, then the cannons will shoot them, so they will die instantly to the cannon shoot, and safT won't have the possibility to guard drop Marines to defend the tanks. From this perspective, the task of the Protoss player is to make the cannons and then collect and gather up zealots whose task is to kill the tank. So that's why, yeah, it's quite a big part from each player's perspective. They really have to micro and multitask at the same time. They have to, so the Protoss player has to focus on cannons and zealots, while the Terran player has to focus on not losing Marines and the barracks till the tank is out. Alright, so the tank is out and waiting for the research of the siege mode. This is really crucial for the Terran player. safT has to survive until the siege mode is off, and now it is off, so the tank is sieging up, and he can start shooting the cannons right now. So safT manages to survive this attack, but the zealots are coming, as I mentioned, so their aim is to find the tank and kill it, otherwise this pushes over. So the SCVs are there, it's a nice hold, so the SCVs are holding the zealots back. Okay, that was a nice move. So the zealots were not really able to advance and approach the tank, who can continue on killing the cannons, and a newer tank is out. Maybe it was placed a bit bad, and there was lots of free space, so the zealots were able to approach the tank and kill it easily. And now the other tank needs to be defended. If safT doesn't defend that tank, oh my god, that tank was lost. So right now his only chance is this bunker, which also went down. safT is in a big trouble because he didn't manage to save the tanks and the bunker. So TrainingDays managed to save up quite a few zealots, and supported by those cannons, he was able to do quite a huge damage here. So, well, yeah, that's the end of this game. GG.